Good evening, everybody, and welcome to UWS Women's Volleyball here on 91.3 FM KUWS and on Yellow Jacket TV, along with the pregame show. This is Matt Johnson, our pregame show tonight, sponsored by National Bank of Commerce, as the Yellow Jacket Women's Volleyball team taking on Bethany Lutheran for the first of two games on the weekend here at home at Mertz Memorial Gymnasium here on the campus of the University of Wisconsin-Superior. As we jump into our pregame show, again sponsored by National Bank of Commerce. Yellow Jackets coming into this contest as they re-enter UMAC Conference play tonight for the first of two on the weekend, sitting at 12-7 overall, 1-1 in the UMAC. Lynn Diedrich, the head coach of the Yellow Jackets, in her 23rd season, 346 victories for Coach Diedrich in her Yellow Jacket coaching career. UWS won their second straight match last time out in a game that you heard with yours truly, both here on 91.3 FM and on Yellow Jacket TV, as the Yellow Jackets jumped out to a big lead in the opening set and then cruised the rest of the night. I'm posting a 3-0 sweep over Bridge Battle rivals St. Scholastica right here at the Mertz. A very impressive performance by the Yellow Jackets in that matchup. In that contest, by the way, the Yellow Jackets jumped out to a big lead in the first set, taking an 8-2 lead. Following a kill from McKenna Holbein, UWS was never really threatened the rest of that set on the way to taking the opening frame by a 25-12 score. The Yellow Jackets continued to cruise from there, defeating the Skeins 25-19 in the second set to take a 2-0 set lead. St. Scholastica responded bravely in the third, taking a 7-4 lead following a kill by Cassidy Lustig. But the Yellow Jackets came right back, scoring 9 of the next 10 points on the way to taking a 13-8 lead on a solo block by Sydney Bader. And from there, the Yellow Jackets pulled away, hitting 333 in the final set and 263 for the match, and sweeping the Saints with a 25-15 triumph in set three. Offensively, the Yellow Jackets were paced by Holbein, who finished with 11 kills and 13 digs. Gabby Schwartz, meanwhile, posted 17 assists and 10 digs, while Savannah Herring had 21 digs defensively for the Yellow Jackets. Probably one of the best performances the Yellow Jackets have put together so far here in the 2025 campaign. They come in tonight taking on a Bethany Lutheran team that is red hot right now. The Vikings coming in at 11-5 overall, 3-0 in UMAC, all alone in first place in the conference standings. Following about a week or so of conference action, Laura Evans is in her third season at the helm of the Vikings program. Like I said, they've won their last 8, including posting a 3-0 sweep of Crown College on Saturday in Mankato, Minnesota. That match was played at the North Gym on the campus of Bethany Lutheran. In that match, Vikings won by set scores of 25-6, 25-20, and 25-14, while hitting a blistering 407 as a team for the match. Individually, Bethany Lutheran was led by Lily Merkins with 13 kills, while Allie Disted finished with 30 assists and 8 digs. Avery Carlson also posted 8 digs in that victory for the Vikings. So both teams playing well right now heading into this contest here on this Friday evening from the Mertz in Superior. And with that being the case, we'll take a quick break and continue our pregame show, sponsored by National Bank of Commerce, with more, including a conversation with Yellow Jacket head coach Lynn Diedrich. That's coming up in a minute or two, so stick around for that. This is UWS Women's Volleyball on 91.3 FM, KUWS Superior, and on Yellow Jacket TV, an affiliate of the UMAC Sports Network.
now joined by Yellow Jacket head coach Lynn Diedrich. And Coach, a couple of talks here in the last week. I mean, we talked last time we chatted. We kind of went as the season as a whole. The fact that you've used 3 different setters, that you've tried a couple of different liberos at times in the back, and then playing St. Scholastica, we expected a tough match. But wow, did you guys put your foot down on that one? I was not expecting it to be that one-sided. I don't know if you were or you weren't. Probably, I would guess you probably weren't. But based on the first matchup you guys had, the Stinger Classic, and then into that match, when we last saw you, wow, that was quite a change. It felt like St. Scholastica really never got in the match, and some of it might have been that they were a little bit flat, but I felt like you guys were very sharp as well that night.
Yeah, I thought we came out very focused. The intensity was there. Our kids played hard. We played point for point and just went on some runs there and really never let them back into the game. And I was real happy with the way that we played that night. That's kind of the direction that we need to play every night. So hopefully they'll bring that kind of a game tonight with their focus and things so we can get it done.
Last time we chatted, we also talked about the fact that McKenna has really kind of stepped forward to become a superstar on your team as far as the outside hitter. She's one of the better players in the conference. We all know that. But I saw some contributions from some other players that was really nice to see. Marina Sager had a really nice match in St. Scholastica, and so did Sydney Smith. Must be nice to be able to get that contribution from them also with now the heart of conference play coming up.
Yeah, that's kind of an expectation that I have for those upperclassmen is like they need to bring it, every night, not just on some nights. And, it was really great to see them have outstanding performances in that match for both of those 2 gals. And but again, I want to see that consistency with them because I know they have what it takes to be that player for us and score points. And I just want to see that consistency throughout the rest of the season here. And hopefully they'll have that tonight for us.
I really also was very, very impressed with your defensive performance against St. Scholastica. Held them to negative hitting in the first set. Held them to, just over 6% hitting for the entire match, 0.6, something like that. And it felt like your passing was really spot on, especially Caitlin Jones, the transfer from St. Scholastica. She was spot on with her passes all night long. She had some matches, I know, where she struggled a little bit with serve receive at times, but she was dialed in and really, really sharp, I thought, against St. Scholastica.
Yeah, I think any time that you transfer from another school and you end up having or getting that opportunity to play them again, you're just going to be jacked up to want to show that, I deserve to be here in this role and things like that. And she did step up and have a great match for us both times, actually, that we played and things like that. But I also would give kudos to Savannah Herring, who just really gobbled up a lot of balls back there, as well as McKenna. Defensively, like you say, we did do a lot with the ball and things that allowed us to then keep our attack going and things like that. So good to see us play strong defense against a good team.
Now during this match against Bethany Lutheran, a much improved opponent. It's a team that has been on the rise the last few years. I know you guys, last time you played them here, you swept them, but then you had a 5-setter down there toward the end of the year, just before the UMAC tournament started. They've come along a long way, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm expecting them to come out and want to take this match here tonight. If we don't play well and we don't play to our potential, I think, who knows what could happen, but we need to come out and play our game and stay focused and bring that intensity and keep swinging and things like that. I think there could be some long rallies, but hopefully we're going to, swing hard and force them to have to play some defense as well. And I feel that defensively we're strong, so hopefully we'll be able to pick up some of their balls and turn them into points for ourselves.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for your time as always. We'll talk to you again soon, and good luck tonight against the Vikings.
All right, thanks.
I was Yellow Jacket head coach Lynn Diedrich. I'll be right back with more Yellow Jacket women's volleyball right after this on 91.3 FM KUWS Superior and on Yellow Jacket TV, an affiliate of the UMAC Sports Network.
as the two teams are being introduced here by our public address announcer for the evening, Ryan Castaneda. The Yellow Jackets and the Bethany Lutheran Vikings for the first time here in 2025. These two teams will meet again, by the way, on Saturday, October 25th at the North Gym in Mankato. That'll be at the second half of the season with the eye on the UMAC tournament in that one. This is a very somewhat jumbled up top of the conference right now. Right now, as the standings indicated, is Bethany Lutheran in first place, and then it is Northwestern in second, and then the Yellow Jackets are right now in the fourth position behind Minnesota Morris, who is a half game up at 2-1. The Yellow Jackets at 1-1. Bethany Lutheran leading the way at 3-0, and then Northwestern at 2-0. So it's very jumbled at the top right now. Of course, the top four teams in the UMAC standings will make it to the UMAC tournament. The Yellow Jackets looking for will be trying to get back not only to the tournament, but back to the championship match for the fourth straight season. That would be a first in program history as well. A couple of series notes between these two teams before we end up getting this one underway. The Yellow Jackets have defeated Bethany Lutheran 20 of 22 times in the series. It's been very much dominated by the Yellow Jackets. First time they ever met was back on September 26th of 2009. The Yellow Jackets are currently on a 15-match winning streak in the series. That dates back to September 16th of 2017. UWS took both matchups with the Vikings, as I mentioned in the interview with head coach Lynn Diedrich in our interview. First sweeping the Vikings in their first matchup right here on October 11th in the Mertz by scores of 25-22, 25-17, and 25-20 before finishing off the season sweep with a tense and very hard-fought, by the way, five-setter down at the North Gym in Mankato, 25-14, 25-21, 25-27, 24-26, and 15-11. That was played on October 9th at the North Gym in Mankato. With those victories, UWS now hasn't lost to Bethany Lutheran since dropping a 3-0 decision to the Vikings way back on October 22nd of 2016. All-time UWS, a perfect 10-0 here in Superior also against Bethany Lutheran. So those are the numbers that are on the line here for the Yellow Jackets in this one. A couple of scores, by the way, to pass along from earlier today. Both soccer teams were victorious in their games against Martin Luther down in steamy Newell, Minnesota. The temperatures down there were getting into the low to mid 80s, I know, with humidity to boot. The Yellow Jacket men's soccer team winning their game against the Knights 7-1 earlier today, while the Yellow Jacket women's soccer team defeated Martin Luther by a final score of 6-0. They're both going to be in action tomorrow, taking on Bethany Lutheran in Mankato before they return home. The men's soccer team will be back on Tuesday against a top 5 opponent in Augsburg. The women, however, will be on the road until the 18th, I believe, of this month. So that will be what's up for men's and women's soccer. Those are the scores we have to pass along before we get this one underway. By the way, Yellow Jacket women's volleyball will be next in action tomorrow, taking on this Martin Luther as well here at the Mertz. That'll be a game that'll also be a joint broadcast here on 91.3 FM KUWS and also on Yellow Jacket TV. Owen Peterson will actually be playing the role of lead broadcaster. He'll be lead vocals on that one. So tune in tomorrow, listen to Owen, and see if the Yellow Jackets can get a victory against the Knights. In the meantime, the two teams just about finished being introduced here as the light's about to come back on here at the Mertz, and we're just about ready to get this one underway. Today's opening serve will be sponsored by Barker's Island Inn here in Superior. And the two teams now, as the lights are back on, getting ready to get this one underway. Thank you for joining us, by the way, on this Friday evening. Steamy up here, by the way, also. Probably steamy all over the region, I believe. Temperatures today in Duluth and Superior reached the mid-70s to the low 80s here, and it's supposed to get warmer as the weekend moves along. So we'll get this one underway. The Yellow Jackets in their gold jerseys, while Bethany Lutheran in their traveling reds. And we're moments away, like I said, from getting this one underway. Yellow Jackets in the Vikings. Our postgame today, or our pregame show, excuse me, was sponsored by National Bank of Commerce. And we'll see who gets the serve first here, as all the introductions are now over. And we're just about ready to get this one underway. I'm just guessing by how everyone's lining up here. That looks like it will be Colleen Claude that'll lead us off here for the Yellow Jackets serving-wise. That's the reason for the pause there, just waiting to see who was going to have the opening serve here. It's going to be the Yellow Jackets. Again, our opening serve tonight, sponsored by Barker's Island Inn. As Claude, the senior, two-sport athlete here at UWS, actually a three-sporter if you count her time with track and field. Lobs this one up, and we are underway. Yellow Jackets and the Vikings. Swing from the outside. Taken right away by Maddie Meyer, and the Yellow Jackets now sending over for a free ball. Set through the middle. Here's Meyer again, and that swing will hit the corner, and the Vikings side out right away, and they lead it 1-0. Meyer will go back and serve it here for Bethany Lutheran. And here's her serve. And it'll end up being an ace. Targeted Caitlin Jones. Jones couldn't get positive pass on that one, and the Vikings score the first 2 points here of set number one. As Meyer again back to the line here for Bethany Lutheran. And here is her serve. Holbein on the reception. Claude back set. Jump guard on the swing, and she'll miss. Far corner. Bethany Lutheran out to a 3-0 lead here to start things. Early going set number one. Here's Meyer's serve. Jones. Claude now going back for Caitlin Jones. Jones will tip it over, and she'll get the kill. And off of the hands of Mel Raish to get the termination did Caitlin Jones. Jackets get their first point of the match. They trail it 3-1 here, early stages, set number one. And Jones, the transfer from St. Scholastica, as we mentioned in the pregame interview with Coach Lynn Diedrich, goes up to serve for the first time in this one. See by the Vikings. Now they'll set it to the outside. Here's Merkins. Lily Merkins pushing it over the net. Bumped up now by Savannah Herring. Here's Holbein on the swing. Tipped at the net. Now joust at the net, and that one will be won by Abby Maloney for Bethany Lutheran. They side out to make it 4-1. And here's Abby Distad now to go back and serve. Distad, sophomore from Casson, Minnesota, will go back and serve this one up. Here's her serve. Jones. Claude. Now Holbein on the swing, and she'll get stuffed as well at the net. And Jackets off to a slow start here. That block at the net, another one for Maloney. And it's 5-1 here. Jackets slow out of the gate. Here's Distad's serve. Herring bumped up now by Jamkard. Now rolled over by Kenna Holbein. Dug up by the Vikings. Now here's the swing from the outside. That one taken by Merkins. Holbein to the far side. Now here's the swing taken by Jamkard. Dug out back row by Kylie Smid. Now Jamkard plays over a free ball for the Vikings. Smid to the outside. Merkins on the cross-court attempt, and she'll get the kill. 6-1 now in favor of Bethany Lutheran. I said Jackets flat here to begin. Not the start you want. Here now is Distad to serve it again. Back row now Herring. Claude bumping it up. Holbein on the approach, and she'll get the kill. McKenna Holbein makes it 6-2 off the side out. Sydney Bader's going to check in for the first time. Savannah Herring to the line to serve it here for the Yellow Jackets. Down by 4. And here's Herring's serve. See, back row by Avery Carlson. Now Merkins on the swing near side, and she'll get the kill. 7-2. 7 of the first 9 now for the Vikings, and going back to the line now to serve it is Merkins. Here's her serve now, back row. Jones on the reception. Claude. That was a little bit off, played over by Holbein. Now Distad. Swing now near side, and that'll be another kill. Alexis Trigg getting the termination there. And it's 8-2, and a timeout going to be called here by the Yellow Jackets. Flat start for UWS, no other way to put it. And the Vikings in command right now, leading at 8-2. Can't get enough of the Yellow Jackets? Tune in into Eye of the Swarm, the official podcast of Yellow Jacket Athletics. Join John Garver and me throughout the years. We sit down with Yellow Jacket student athletes, coaches, and other guests. Eye of the Swarm is available on uwsyellowjackets.com/podcast, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts. Well, we've already had a change from what we had on Tuesday night against St. Scholastica, Coach Lynn Diedrich never had to call a timeout, not once in the entire match against the Saints. But so far here, it's been all Bethany Lutheran. The Vikings coming in, like I said, on an eight-match winning streak. And the Yellow Jackets struggling at the outset here. So we'll see if they can clean up their game a little bit. Bethany Lutheran, meanwhile, has been very solid defensively thus far. As we come out of the timeout, Merkins will continue at the service line here for Bethany Lutheran. And here is her serve. Holbein tipped up in the air by Claude. Swing taken through the middle by the Vikings, tipped at the net. Now Claude back through the middle. Here's Bader on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Sydney Bader for the Yellow Jackets sides out to make it now 8-3. Claude and Jamkar will check out. Marina Sager and Gabby Schwartz in for UWS for the first time in the match. Here's Schwartz's serve. Distad will set it now near side. Floated over now by Maloney. Now Holbein on the swing. And she'll get the kill. McKenna Holbein. The assist of Gabby Schwartz makes it 8-4. So a couple of points now for the Jackets out of the timeout. And Schwartz will continue from the line here. Here's her serve. Back row received by Schmid. Distad through the middle now. Tipped up by Maloney. Jackets dig it out. Near side, Holbein going cross court. Schmid on the dig for the Vikings. Now here's the swing on the far side taken by Sydney Carlson. Now through the middle, here's Holbein, and she'll get stuffed. Sell will block again for Maloney. She's already made a difference up front. Side out makes it 9-4 now in favor of Bethany Lutheran. Well, Callie Schmid goes back to serve it here for the Vikings. Left-handed serve now. Back row, here's Holbein. Schwartz, near side now, pushed over by UWS's Marina Sager. Now sent back by Carlson. Dug up by Jones, far side. Now played over for a free ball by Bader. Distad to the near side. Here's the swing and a kill. Lexus Trigg getting it, and it's now 10-4. Schmidt will go back and serve it here now for the Vikings. Jones on the reception. Schwartz. Now here's the swing for Holbein, and she'll get the kill. Good to see McKenna Holbein get going a little bit here. 10-5 your score. Here's the serve from Holbein. Now Joust at the net. Sent over by the Vikings for a free ball. Now Jones on the approach, and she hits it on the underside of the net. Jackets ball handling, letting them down a little bit there on that one. Attack error gives it back to Bethany Lutheran off the side out at 11-5. Riley Salmon going to come in now for Bethany Lutheran. She will serve here with her team up by 6. And here's her serve. Holbein, Schwartz through the middle. Here's Bader, and she'll just lift it over the top and get it down for a kill. Sydney Bader has a couple of kills now, and it's 11-6. Off that side out as Sydney Smith returns. Bader will go back and serve it here. And Bader serve. Merkins on the reception. Distad now on the slide. Here's the swing taken by Maddie Meyer. Jackets digging it out. Now Sager, and she'll airmail that one long and over the back line for an attack error. Got under it instead of over the top. Side out to the Vikings makes it 12-6 as Savannah Herring comes back in. Avery Carlson will go back and serve it here. Here's her serve. Jones, Schwartz, and Smith. Blocked through the middle. Maddie Meyer getting up, the senior from Shakopee for the Vikings. Then Bethany Lutheran continuing to control matters here at 13-6. Serve now to the back row. There's Holbein. Now Jones rising, tipped at the net by Meyer. Distad back from Meyer, her swing, and that one will go long and over the back line. Attack error makes it 13-7. Claude and Jamkar are going to come back in. They're going to take out Sager and Schwartz here. Here's Claude's serve. Back row, that one received by Salmon. Now Merkins on the swing. Dug out by Herring. Claude near side, tipped over by Jones. And it's going to be a kill for Caitlin Jones to make it 13-8. Colleen Claude now for UWS. Here's her serve. Salmon. Distad. Merkins rolling it over. Claude. Swing now taken by Jamkard. Sent over, dug out by the Vikings. Now here's Meyer through the middle. Meyer goes up and wins a joust again with Smith. She's won a couple of those so far against Sydney Smith. Side out makes it 14-8. And Meyer now goes back to the line to serve it. Here's her serve. Herring. Claude. Back set now Jamkard on the swing. Dug out by the Vikings, and now they'll send it over for a free ball. Holbein. Claude. Smith goes up, gets the swing away. That one dug out by Salmon. Now Merkins going cross court, and she'll get the kill. Lily Merkins makes it 15-8. Jackets just have not been able to get a foothold in this set at all. Meyer back at the line to serve it again. Here's Meyer's serve. Holbein. Claude. Jones rising up. Dug out by the Vikings. Now Merkins. That one dug up by Yellow Jackets as well. Now pushed over by Jones. Free ball for the Vikings. Distad. Outside Merkins. And she finds the back row again. Another kill. Vikings are humming right now, leading at 16-8. Jackets can't find themselves at the moment. And they have to sharpen it up here. Meyer at the line. Vikings so far hitting .318 as a team. The Jackets at triple zeros. Not hard to see why they're down by 8. In the meantime, Meyer now at the line. Here's her serve now. Jones on the reception. Claude through the middle. Here's the swing from Smith. Up at the net. Smith trying to tip it down. Again, dug up by the Vikings. Now Merkins going cross court. That one dug up by Herring. Back set from Claude. Now here's the swing. Going cross court and getting the kill is going to be Kate Jamkard. 16-9 now your score. UWS is going to need to string some points together here at some point. Otherwise, they're going to go down a set. Here's Jones' serve, and that one is long. Service error makes it 17-9. Abby Distad now goes back to the line to serve it. There's the serve. Jones. Claude. Holbein on the approach. Tipped at the net by Maloney. Now outside, here's the swing from Merkins, and she'll hit the corner. I'll make it 18-9 in favor of Bethany Lutheran. It's been all Vikings from the start, and now a timeout going to call the second here by Coach Lynn Diedrich. Jacks just haven't been sharp, and Bethany Lutheran has been very sharp so far. That's your difference here thus far. Looking at those numbers, Bethany Lutheran hitting at .292 so far here. The Jackets at .029. Merkins already has 4 kills and is making 5 kills now, hitting .385. Jackets so far with 3 kills from Holbein, but she's hitting .091. Smith so far is negative. 2 kills for Caitlin Jones, but like I said, UWS just not sharp. And Bethany seems to have the Yellow Jackets well scouted as well. There haven't been a lot of open lanes to even swing at for the Yellow Jackets so far. So there are going to have to be some adjustments made here. If nothing else, you want to get some momentum going for set number 2 here if you're the Yellow Jackets. As UWS breaks the huddle here. Will be Abby Disted that'll go back and serve it now for the Vikings. Here's her serve, and that one will drift long and out of play. Service error makes it now 18-10. Bader comes back in. Herring will go back to the line to serve. Herring serve. Received by the Vikings back row. Distad now. Here's Merkins going cross court. That one dug out by Herring. Back set now from Claude. Here's the swing now by Jampgard, and she'll get the kill. Couple of kills now for Kate Jampgard. The junior from Grand Rapids, Minnesota, makes it 18-11. Herring back to the line now for UWS. And here's her serve. Back row received by Avery Carlson. Now Distad. And this timing her jump as she came across was Trigg. Nearby Virginia, Minnesota makes it 18-12. Herring will serve it up again here. Herring serve. See back row by Trigg. Now Trigg will play it over for a free ball. Jones, Claude to the near side now. That was a little bit off, but adjusting, and going to say it went outside the antenna apparently as McKenna Holbein got to fall on the Bethany Lutheran side of the court, but they're going to say that she went outside or either that or she hit the antenna. So the error for the Yellow Jackets. Let's sort of summarize this first set for UWS. 19-12 now off the side out for the Vikings. And here's the serve now. Jones. Bader now to the outside. Here's the swing from Jampgard, and she'll get the kill. A rare assist for Sydney Bader, the middle hitter for the Yellow Jackets, making 19-13. Sager back in, Azure Schwartz. Here's Schwartz's serve. Schmid popped up. And that one on the swing from Sydney Carlson going to go out of play. That'll be point to the Jackets to make it 19-14. Schwartz at the line here. Here's her serve, back row. Sydney Carlson this time. Carlson now send it over. Free ball for the Jackets. Schwartz to the near side. Here's the swing from Holbein. Got the lie by the Vikings. Now a swing at the net. That one taken by Trigg. That was tipped at the net. Now dumped over, and that'll be a kill for Sydney Bader. The Jackets showing a little bit of life here. 19-15 now your score. Schwartz at the line now. Here's her serve. Sydney Carlson receives. Now she'll send it over the net. Dug out by Jones. Now on the near side, Holbein on the swing. That one kept alive by the Vikings. Distad. Swing now, and that one taken. And getting the kill is going to be Trigg. And cross court caught the tape and then fell on the Yellow Jacket side of the court. So side out for the Vikings at 20-15. And now Kylie Schmidt will go back, and she will serve it here for the Vikings. Here's her serve. Jones, overpass. And the swing and a kill there from Trigg right up the middle. And Trigg, with no block at all, just went up and pounded it down. 2 straight kills for Alexis Trigg makes it 21-15. Schmidt at the line. Herring on the reception. To the outside now and getting tipped at the net again. This time it was Marina Sager. Now goes to the far side. Swing taken by Holbein. Tipped at the net. Distad near side. Here's Trigg. And she misses the far side, but, oh no, they're going to say it wasn't tipped. Thought they might get a touch on that one, but they say no. Side out makes it 21-16 now. Here's Holbein on the serve. Distad now will pop it up. Trigg, she'll dump it over and get the kill. 22-16, the Vikings on the verge of taking set number 1 here. Jackets will probably going to have to fight from behind. Salmon comes back in. Here's the serve now from Milraish. Now a swing through the middle. Getting her hand on it again was Meyer. She's made a huge difference so far here in set number 1. Now Distad. Meyer will take a swing. Dug out by Schwartz. Herring. Now Sager. Dumps it over the top. Dug out by the Vikings. Distad to the far side. Tipped over, and that'll be a kill for Sydney Carlson. Now Raish at the line. Here's her serve. And Jones got her hands all wrong on that one as she received it. And it's now set point, 24-16. And the Jackets going to make a substitution here. Elena Wilberg's going to come in. She's going to take out Jones. And we've struggled on receive here so far in set number 1. Set point for the Vikings. Raish at the line. And here's the serve. Herring. Holbein played over for a free ball. Raish, Distad, and a swing from Meyer, and that'll do it. Maddie Meyer with the kill, 25-16. Very impressive by the Vikings. Jackets got a lot of work to do to figure some things out here between set 1 and 2. Vikings take the first set, 25-16. We'll take a quick break and come back with the start of the second set right after this. This is UWS Women's Volleyball on 91.3 FM KUWS Superior, and also on Yellow Jacket TV, an affiliate of the UMAC Sports Network. Yellow Jacket fans, get the same gear the Yellow Jackets wear by visiting the Yellow Jacket Sideline store. Browse the latest styles of gear, including shirts, shorts, sweatshirts, outerwear, and more. The Yellow Jacket Sideline store can be found at uwsyellowjackets.com/shop. Tough first set for the Yellow Jackets, no question about it. Bethany much better in that opening stanza. The Vikings outhand the Yellow Jackets 263 to 065. And they were able to really take command, especially at the net. In that first set, so far 5 kills each for Alexis Trigg and Lily Merkins for the Vikings. 3 kills so far for Maddie Meyer, but I think her biggest contributions have come at the net. She's gotten her hand on several Yellow Jacket attempts right through the middle, and so that's going to be an area the Yellow Jackets are going to have to respond to in that first set. Meanwhile, Abby Distad, by the way, the setter in this 5-1 for the Vikings in that first set, 11 assists for her. Vikings as a team had 14 kills. The Yellow Jackets had 11. Individually for the Yellow Jackets in that first set, 3 players with 3 kills in Kate Jamgard, McKenna Holbein, and Sydney Bader. 2 kills so far for Caitlin Jones. As we come out of the break, by the way, this set break, sponsored by Hovland Incorporated, as UWS will have to come back here and try to rally back into this one after getting punched in the mouth a bit by the Vikings in that first set. 25-16 in favor of the Vikings, and they took command from the start, and the Jackets really never got back into it. So we'll see what UWS can do here, if they can pick themselves up off the proverbial mat here after one set. In the meantime, the Vikings will lead things off here. It looks like it'll be Avery Carlson that'll serve first here to begin the second set. And here's her serve. Received by Jones, who's back in there for the Yellow Jackets. Now Jones will roll it over the front of the net. Dug out by Kylie Schmid, back row. Now here's the swing from Merkins. Dug out by the Yellow Jackets, Claude. Now on the approach, here's the swing from Jamkard. That one tipped at the net by Meyer. Now Merkins will tip it over. Claude reading it pretty well that time. Popped up now by Herring, and going cross court, or trying to go cross court, was Jones. That one tipped at the net. And now Meyer misjudges her approach on the set from Distad and ends up being an error, and the Yellow Jackets have a 1-0 lead here. Didn't have too many extended rallies even in that first set. As Jones now serves this one. Raish on the reception. Swing now taken by Merkins. Dug up by the Yellow Jackets. Now Holbein will push it over. Dug out again by Raish. Now Distad. Merkins. And she'll get the kill. Just tipped it over with the left hand. Did Lily Merkins. That was the side out now. That makes it 1-1. Coming back in now for the Vikings is Abby Maloney. And Maddie Meyer goes back to serve it now for Bethany Lutheran. And here's her serve. Line drive over the net. Now here's the swing on the far side taken by Holbein. Nice job by the Vikings. Keep it alive. Now Merkins will punch it over. Free ball for the Jackets. Now through the middle. Here's the swing by Smith. Tipped at the net. Merkins now, and she'll push it in the underside of the net. And it'll be a point to the Jackets to make it now 2-1. Bader will come back in. Smith will check out. And Savannah Herring will go back to the line for the Yellow Jackets. Here's her serve. Back row Smid. Now near side, here's Merkins. I think a piece of it was Sydney Bader. Played over. Jones popping it up now. Here's Holbein. On the far side, dug out by Raish. Now on the near side, here's another swing. This one taken by Merkins. Herring. Now Claude will play it over for a free ball for the Vikings. Distad dumps it over. Dug out by Holbein. Punched over now by Jamkard. Now Distad on the slide. Here's the swing going cross court. That one taken by Maloney, and the Jackets able to dig it up, but then the swing on the far side from Holbein will go wide. Attack error makes it 2 apiece. Alexis Trigg is going to come back in. Mel Raish is going to check out. And Distad will go back and serve it. Here's her serve. Jones back row. Claude. Now Bader tipping it over the top, and she'll get the kill. Sydney Bader's had a couple of those so far here. 3-2 out the side out for the Jackets. Sager comes back in, as does Schwartz. Here's the serve from Schwartz. Back row, Avery Carlson on the reception. Now on the near side, here's a swing by Trigg, and she'll get the kill. Alexis Trigg makes it 3 apiece. Merkins goes back to serve it. Coming back in now for the Vikings is Sydney Carlson. Merkins a serve. Herring. Schwartz to the middle. Here's Bader on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Went right over the top of the block attempt there of Abby Maloney to make it 4-3. And now McKenna Holbein for UWS at the line. Here's her serve. Schmid pops it up. Now through the middle. Here's the swing and another kill. This one for Trigg. She's starting to heat up a bit. And back and forth we go. 4 apiece. Meyer comes back in now for the Vikings. Schmid will go back and she will serve it. 5'5" senior from Spring Valley, Minnesota for Bethany Lutheran. With the left-handed serve, here it is. And that one well wide of the target. That'll be an error. Jackets go back up 5-4. Smith comes back in for UWS. She'll take out Herring, and Sydney Bader will go back to the line and serve it for the Yellow Jackets. Here's Bader's serve, and that one is an error. Now she'll check out. Herring comes back in at 5-5. Raish will come back in now for the Vikings. She'll take out Trigg, who had a really good run there during that rotation. And now going back to the line now is Raish. Here's her serve. Holbein, Schwartz, Smith. Tipped at the net by Meyer. Now sent over by Sydney Carlson. Dug out back row here by Herring. Now Jones with the big swing, and she misses everything. Over the back line, attack error, and the Vikings have their first lead of the set at 6-5. Raish on the serve, and that one is long. Side out makes it 6 apiece. Claude and Jamkar are going to come back in. Sager will check out, as will Schwartz. Here's the serve from Claude. Back row, Schmid. Distad, near side. Here's the swing. That one taken by Carlson. Dug out by the Jackets. Now Jamkard will send it over for a free ball. Merkins, Distad, near side. And getting the kill is going to be Sydney Carlson. 7-6 now, the Vikings back up. Avery Carlson will come back in for Sydney Carlson, and now Avery will go back and serve it. Here's her serve. Jones, overpass. Swing taken on the far side by Distad. Dug up by the Yellow Jackets. Now here's Jamkard on the approach. Tipped at the net. Distad outside Merkins. And she'll use the block attempt of Jamkard to get the kill. And the Vikings going up by 2 now at 8-6. Avery Carlson at the line. And this one will drift long and over the back line. Service error makes it 8-7. Here's Jones going back to the line now. Caitlin Jones' serve. Received by Avery Carlson. Now Meyer plays it over. Dug out by Herring. Back set from Claude. Now here's the swing from Jamkar. Tipped at the net. And there's a swing and another kill. This one from Merkins. Jackets are really getting outplayed at the net here. Meyer goes back to the line now to serve it. 9-7, the Vikings ahead. Already up 1-0. Sent this one back. Jones couldn't figure it out again on that one, and it'll be a service receive error, and it's going to be another substitution here. Jones is going to check out. Goldberg will come back in, just like we saw at the end of set number 1. 10-7 now, the Vikings by 3. Meyer serve. Wilberg, she can't get a positive touch either, and it'll be played over for a free ball by Holbein. In fact, it'll go long, and 11-7 now. Here's Meyer's serve. Herring this time receives it. Claude, Jamkard into the net for an error. And a timeout going to be called here by UWS. Same problems that plagued the Jackets in set number 1 coming back to bite them in set number 2. And it's not looking good right now for UWS. Take a quick look at these numbers, by the way. Jackets now hitting at 0-1-5. Vikings at 263. They've just been much better than the Yellow Jackets from the start here. 8 kills now for Merkins. She's hitting 280. Trigg, meanwhile, has 7 kills in 11 attempts. 455. And Meyer so far with 3 kills. Destad now up to 16 assists. Sydney Bader so far leading the Yellow Jackets with 5 kills. But negative hitting for McKenna Holbein, negative hitting for Sydney Smith. And at triple zeros right now is Caitlin Jones. Not going to win with those 3 struggling like that. Kate Jamkard has 3 kills. Hitting 077 now. Vikings have just 5 attack errors in the match so far. The Jackets, 13 kills, but 12 errors. Like I said, just have not been able to get anything rolling here so far through a set plus. Meyer will continue to serve here. Here's her serve. Wilberg receives it. Bumped up now by Claude. Pushed over now for a free ball by Hobein. Distad. Near side Merkins. Dug out by Claude. Herring. Outside Hobein. Her swing dug out by Meyer. Now a joust at the net. And the Vikings win another one. Merkins going over the top of Smith that time. 13-7. Meyer at the line. Here's her serve. Wilberg receives. Now to the outside. Here's Hobein going cross court. Dug out by Avery Carlson. Now tipped up over the top there by Maloney. Jackets digging it out. Jam guard giving it a go. Raish on the dig. Now near side. Here's Merkins on the swing, and she'll get the kill. That's all Vikings again here in set number 2. Here's Meyer's serve. Wilberg. Claude will dump it over. Read by Carlson. Now Merkins another swing. And a kill for her makes it now 15-7. And the Jackets are completely flat-footed right now on the court. Meyer's serve. Wilberg. Claude. Jam guard runs up, plays it over for a free ball. Distad to the middle. Here's the swing now taken by Maloney. Joust at the net. Now Merkins will play it over. Wilberg, Claude, Smith on the swing, and finally the Yellow Jackets get a point here. That's a kill for Sydney Smith to make it 15-8. Bader comes back in. Herring will go back to the line to serve it. Herring serve. Schmid now on the near side. Here's Merkins on the swing, and she misses that one long. One of the few times the Vikings on an approach have not looked good on the swing. Error makes it 15-9. There's a serve from Herring. Avery Carlson, Distad through the middle now, tipping it over and tipping it down and getting the kills. Maloney. 16-9. The Vikings playing very well. I'm not going to take anything away from them, but the Jackets just, like I said, have not been very sharp. Distad goes back to the line now to serve. Here's the serve. Wilberg. Popped up to the middle, and here's the swing and a kill now for Bader. The assist to Claude makes it 16-10. Schwartz and Sager will come back into the match now. Here's Schwartz's serve. Carlson, Schmid, Trigg. And she'll find the corner on the swing. Another side out for the Vikings, 17-10. Sydney Carlson going to come back in now for Bethany. Kalista Weber also going to come in. And she'll go back and serve it here. And the Vikings up by 7, looking to go up 2-0. There's the serve. Wilberg now receives. Schwartz. Near side, here's Hobein. At the lie by the Vikings, they'll send it over for a free ball. Played over by Distad. Now Sager trying to tip it over. Punch right back by Carlson, and the Jackets all turned around. And that kind of sums up the night for UWS right there. Had an opportunity there, and they ran into each other in the backcourt. Ball falls on their side, 18-10 now, the Vikings. Weber on the serve. Played over for a free ball now by Wilberg. Distad, back set. Here's the swing from Trigg. Dug out by Schwartz. Herring, Sager punches it over. Free ball for the Vikings again. Distad. Sent over by Trigg. Now on the far side, Holbein. Distad through the middle. Here's the swing from Maloney. Dug out by Herring. Schwartz. And here's the swing now from Sager, and that one will go long. 19-10 now in favor of the Vikings, and the Yellow Jackets will use their second timeout. Have you downloaded Swarm Central, the official rewards and loyalty app of the Yellow Jackets? Get started and receive 200 points just for registering and 200 more for downloading the app. Redeem your points for cool prizes in the Swarm Central store. Find Swarm Central in the Apple and Google stores today. Been a tough first couple of sets here for UWS. 25-16 in the first. Bethany Lutheran, they took command pretty early. They're doing the same thing here in set number 2. So unless the Yellow Jackets put together a furious rally here, it's going to be a 2-0 deficit here for UWS at home. And the Jackets offense still just really struggling, hitting just 0-13 for the match. The Vikings very consistent, hitting a 268. Jackets with 15 kills, but 14 errors so far. 25 kills for the Vikings, just 6 errors. And that's your match. Sometimes it is pretty simple. The numbers bearing it out. Bethany Lutheran's offense is humming along. The Yellow Jackets offense is stuck in the mud at the moment. As we come out. Another timeout. Weber still at the service line here for the Vikings. And here's her serve. Herring on the reception. Schwartz. Now Sager. Dug out by Schmid. Now popped up. Here's the swing and a block on Lexus Trigg now by UWS's Sydney Bader. Side out makes it 19-11 as Holbein goes back to the line. Jones will come back in. Wilberg will check out. Here's the serve from Holbein. Distad through the middle. Here's the swing now from Trigg, and she'll get the kill. Lexus Trigg on the assist from Abby Distad to make it 20-11. And now here's the service ace for Schmid. Right through the hands of Herring. 21-11. Schmid serve. Herring. Schwartz through the middle. Here's the swing now from Bader, and she'll get the kill. She's the only Yellow Jacket that is really performing tonight so far. She's got now 7 kills and 9 tries. Makes it 21-12, but Holbein hitting a negative 080. Smith at negative 143. As Bader on the serve. Schmid, Distad through the middle. Here's Meyer on her swing. Dug out by Schwartz. Sager will send it over. Dug out by Schmid again. Distad to the near side and a swing and a kill. Sydney Carlson makes it 22-12. Smith comes back in, by the way, to take out Bader. Meanwhile, Raish is back in to serve here for Bethany Lutheran, 3 points away from taking a 2-0 lead. Here's the serve. Holbein. Schwartz. Smith tips it over the top. Dug out by the Vikings. Now played over. Far side. Herring on the dig. Now dumped over by Schwartz, and she'll get the kill. 22-13 as Claude and Jamkart are going to come back in. Claude back to the line here for UWS. Here's her serve. Schmid. Distad. Near side, Carlson. Her swing kept alive on the dig there by UWS's Holbein. Punched over by Jones, and we're going to have a double contact called against Caitlin Jones. 23-13 now. Avery Carlson back to the line. Here's her serve. Jones, another serve receive error by the Jackets, and it's set point. 24-13. And Wilberg is going to come in for Jones again here. And here's the serve from Avery Carlson. Another shank pass, and going up was Meyer. This time, though, she misjudged it, hit into the net. Side out makes it 24-14, but Wilberg now back to the line to serve for the Yellow Jackets. There's her serve. Raish on the reception. Distad near side Meyer, and that'll do it. Meyer on the kill, 25-14 in the second set. And bearing a major change in direction here, the Yellow Jackets with no momentum here so far through two sets. They're going to have to really pick it up here. Keep this match going in the third. 25-16 in the first for the Vikings, 25-14 in the second. And we'll take a quick break and come back with the start of the third set right after this. This is UWS Volleyball on 91.3 FM, KUWS Superior, and on Yellow Jacket TV, an affiliate of the UMass Sports Network. Back here at the Mertz, this set break, sponsored by Howland Incorporated. The Yellow Jackets probably wishing they had a little bit more than 3 minutes to try to figure some things out here, because it has been all Vikings from the start. 25-16 in the first, 25-14 in the second, and the numbers are not pretty through two sets for Coach Lynn Diedrich and company. Yellow Jackets hitting just 0-46 here so far. 18 kills and 14 errors. The Vikings 269 as a team, which is excellent. 28 kills for Bethany Lutheran, just 7 attack errors. And like I said, it has been all them basically from the start on this match. UWS, a couple of numbers that are really eye-popping here. McKenna Holbein so far, 3 kills, 5 errors, and hitting negative .080. Can't remember the last time that she struggled like that in a match. Sydney Smith with just 1 kill, 2 errors, and 8 swings. KG Amcard has 3 kills. Sydney Bader has had an excellent match for the Jackets. 7 kills and 9 tries and no errors, hitting .778. But so far, Caitlin Jones is hitting triple zeros. I mean, it has just been really, really tough going for the Yellow Jackets offensively. Not for Bethany Lutheran, though. Merkins now, Lily Merkins has 10 kills so far, hitting .267. Trigg with 9 kills, hitting .375. Meyer hitting .364 with 5 kills. And Sydney Carlson has 3 kills as well. Distad also, by the way, has been really, really good from the setter spot. She has 23 assists here so far. The Jackets, Claude and Schwartz have a combined 15 assists. And we'll see the Yellow Jackets making some changes here to the lineup for the third set. Claude will go back and serve it. We have the first appearance of the evening of Kendra Peterson, the 5'8" freshman from Mounds View, Minnesota. We'll see if she can make any difference here, as Claude goes back to the line to serve it here. And her first serve now right through the hands of Meyer. Vikings on it, though, and it'll be played over by Raish for a free ball. Holbein out to the outside. Here's Peterson's swing, and she'll get the kill. Kendra Peterson going up off the block attempt of Merkins and Meyer on that far side, and the Jackets have a 1-0 lead. Claude to the far side now, going back to the line to serve. And here's her serve. Schmid. Distad. Backside. Here's Meyer. Dug out by Holbein. Played over now by Bader for a free ball. Distad. Outside Merkins. Her swing. Dug at the net. Now Jaws at the net, and Merkins will go up and put it down in between Peterson and Bader for the Yellow Jackets. Side out makes it 1 apiece. Now Meyer back to serve it. Here's her serve. Holbein back row on the reception. Claude rising up now. Jones going cross court. Now Merkins trying to tip it over the net. Still on the Bethany Lutheran side. Merkins will play it over for a free ball. Right through the hands, though, of Savannah Herring. Second time we've seen that here so far. Merkins was just playing that over, and Herring just didn't make a play on the ball. 2-1 now, the Vikings in the lead. Meyer at the line. There's the serve now. Holbein through the middle. Here's the swing now by Bader, and she'll get the kill. Sydney Bader, like I said, has really carried the weight here for the Yellow Jackets. She be UWS's player of the game, no question about it. 8 kills now for her. 2 apiece here, early stages, set number 3. Jackets down 2-0. Jones' serve. Back row on the reception. Now on the outside, here's a swing from Merkins, and she'll get stuffed by Peterson. Kendra Peterson, the freshman, with the block to make it now 3-2. Jones on the serve. Raish back row. Distad now to the outside. Merkins sending it over. Dug out now by Herring. Now here's a swing from Holbein. That one dug out by Raish. Now far side Merkins. Herring. Claude now popping it up. Tipped over by Bader. Dug out by Merkins. Now Merkins on the approach. Her swing. Dug out by Savannah Herring. Now here's the swing from Holbein. That one's still alive. Played over now. Jones keeping it alive. Jackets will play it over by Claude for a free ball. Now Distad on the slide. It's Maloney. That one dug out by Jones. Now on the far side, sent over by Peterson for a free ball. Distad, and now Merkins on the swing. Dug out by Holbein. Back to the outside. Here's the swing by Kendra Peterson, and she'll get the kill. Longest rally of the match. Jackets now have 4-2 lead. Caitlin Jones goes back to the line now for UWS. Distad now will dump it over. Claude sent over now by Bader. Dug out back row. Raish. And sent over now by Schmid. Peterson. Claude to the middle. Here's Holbein on the swing. Dug out by Mel Raish again. Merkin sends it over. Herring. Short set through the middle. Here's Bader on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Sydney Bader. That's her 9th kill now to make it 5-2. This is the most life we've seen from the Jackets all night. There's Jones' serve. Saved by Avery Carlson back row. Now Merkins tipped at the net there by Peterson. Distad back Merkins punching it over. Jones now over the top. And getting the solo block is Bader. She went one-on-one there with Maloney, who tried to go up on the overpass. Bader rose up and blocked her. And it's 6-2 now. The Jackets in the lead. Caitlin Jones now on the serve. And she'll get the ace. Caught the tape and down. Makes it 7-2 in favor of UWS. Now here's Jones' serve. Avery Carlson back row. Distad now. Here's Merkins on the approach. Sends it over. Dug out by Claude. Herring will bump it now near side. Here is McKenna Holbein on the swing. She goes high off the hands of Distad to get the kill. And UWS now up 8-2. Jones at the line. Here's her serve. Schmid, Distad. Sent over by Maloney. And that'll be a kill for Maloney. She was a little bit off balance, sent it just to the corner, and the Jackets were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Side out makes it 8-3. Distad comes back in. Distad serve. Herring. Now the Jackets at the plate over for a free ball. Schmid to the near side. Here's the swing now taken by Trigg. Punched over by UWS. Now played over for a free ball for the Yellow Jackets. Jones, Claude, Holbein on the swing. And we're going to have it's going to be a double contact here called against the Vikings to make it 9-3 as Smith comes back in. Bader will go back to the line to serve it. Here's her serve. Back row, Carlson. Merkins on the swing, and she gets stuffed by Smith. Might have been Holbein as well. Either way, it's 10-3 now. The Jackets up by 7. And a timeout called now by the Vikings, their first of the match. And like I said, some life here from the Yellow Jackets. First time we've seen really any life from them here so far. Jackets so far here in this set, hitting .375, which brings them up to .097 for the match. Bethany Lutheran, meanwhile, so far hitting negative .042 here in this set. They're now down to 196. Like I said, UWS now up to .097. Merkins with 12 kills so far. Trigg has 9. Meanwhile, Bader now at .643 hitting. Has 9 kills, a couple of assists as well. And as we come out of the timeout, Bader still at the line here for the Yellow Jackets. Bader's serve. Distad now to the outside. Here's Trigg's swing, and she'll get the kill. Alexis Trigg makes it 10-4. Merkins will go back to the line to serve here. Avery Carlson now will check out. She'll be replaced by Sydney Carlson. Here's the serve. Holbein. Claude through the middle. Here's the swing by Smith, and she'll get the kill. Sydney Smith makes it 11-4. Schwartz and Sager will come back in. Peterson and Claude will check out. Gabby Schwartz at the line. Sydney Carlson on the reception. Now Trigg will play it over. Sent over now back to the direction by Holbein. Distad. Here's the swing now through the middle, taken by Maloney, and she'll get the kill. Abby Maloney from Abby Distad. The two Abbies linking up to make it 11-5. Schmid will go back and serve it now for the Vikings. Here's her serve into the net. Point to the Jackets makes it 12-5. Now Holbein back to the line. Here's her serve now. Received. Back row now by Maloney. Now through the middle. Here's Meyer. Dug out by Holbein. Back row now. Short set through the middle. Tipping it over with Smith. Back for the Yellow Jackets. Schwartz. Jones on the swing, and she gets stuffed. Solo block over there by Alexis Trigg makes it 12-6. Raish is going to come back in. She'll take out Trigg. Here's the serve now from Raish. Herring now back set. Sager. She'll tip it over and get a kill. And an excuse me kill there from Marina Sager, but Jackets will take it. Side out makes it 13-6 UWS. Now Herring back to the line to serve it. Herring serve, back row now Raish. Schmid. Sydney Carlson on the approach. Tipped at the net there by Bader. Now Meyer on the swing. Dug up by Bader, sent over by Sager. Free ball for the Vikings. Schmid, Distad through the middle. Meyer tipped at the net. Schwartz now through the middle. Here's Bader. And never made it over the top. Never made it over the tape at the top of the net. 13-7 off the error by the Jackets. Avery Carlson will come back in and serve now for Bethany. Here's her serve. Holbein, Schwartz. Sager now taking a swing. Tipped at the net. Schwartz. This time it's Jones going to go cross court, and she's off balance, and it's out of play. Couldn't keep it inside the antenna. 13-8 off the attack error. Carlson now back to the line here for the Vikings. Here's the serve. Holbein, Schwartz. Bader on the swing. Tipped at the net by Meyer. Schwartz. Now it's Holbein from the back row. Dug out by Raish. Now Meyer will tip it over. Schwartz for the Jackets tries the dump. Dug out by Schmid. Now Merkins will take a swing at it. Dug out by UWS's Herring. Now Jones with the left hand. Play is kept alive. Now Jones pushes it over again. Distad. Merkins on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Willie Merkins makes it 13-9. Avery Carlson now back to the line here for the Vikings to serve it. And she'll get the ace. Got the top of the tape and down. 13-10 now your score. 4 straight points for Bethany Lutheran. Herring this time receives. Now through the middle. Here's Bader, and she gets stuffed individually by Meyer. (13-11) now. 5 straight for the Vikings. Carlson serve. Holbein. Schwartz, near side. Here's the swing taken by Jones. Tipped at the net. Now Holbein on the swing, and that's an error in the bottom of the net. 6 straight points for Bethany Lutheran to make it 13-12. Jackets had momentum. They're rapidly losing it here. Carlson serve. Herring. Schwartz. Jones. Tipped at the net by Distad. Now Merkins on the far side, and she'll get a kill again. 7-point rally here for the Vikings. That big lead the Jackets had, it's gone. And it's 13 apiece, and a timeout going to be called. It's been this kind of a match for the Jackets. Showed some signs of life here early in this set. And all that momentum now is gone. Now hitting 0.94 for the set, 0.59 for the match. Bethany Lutheran now at 212. 2 Vikings so far in double figures. Merkins with 14, Trigg with 10. Bader with 9 kills lead the Yellow Jackets. Holbein still hitting negative. Minus 0.30 for McKenna Holbein. Like I said, I can't remember the last time I've seen her hit like this. Caitlin Jones also negative. Just 2 kills for Jones. Negative 125. Just hasn't been good enough so far. 14 assists for Claude. 7 so far for Schwartz. Jones just has 13 digs. 20 digs so far for Herring. Meanwhile, for Bethany, talked about Merkins and Trigg in double figures. 27 assists for Distad. Schmidt so far with 16 digs, 15 for Avery Carlson, and 12 so far for Raish. As here's the serve now into the net from Avery Carlson. That snaps the run. Gives the Jackets a 1-point lead at 14-13. Peterson and Claude going to come back in. Here's Claude's serve now. Back row, Avery Carlson, Distad, Merkins. And she'll get the kill. Tipped at the net. Diving attempt by Holbein. Came up empty. Side out makes it 14 apiece. Abby Maloney comes back in. Sydney Carlson checks out for Bethany. Maddie Meyer back to the line to serve it. Herring on the reception. Now through the middle. Here's Bader, and she'll get stuffed. One-on-one block for Abby Maloney. And it's 15-14 in favor of the Vikings. Meyer at the line now. Holbein, Claude. Peterson on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Kendra Peterson sides out to make it 15 apiece. Jones on the serve. Avery Carlson on the reception. Distad to the outside. Merkins on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Went off the hands, high off the hands of Sydney Bader to make it 16-15. Distad back to the line. Raish will check out. Distad serve. Herring, Claude, Peterson. And now here's an attack error by Yellow Jackets middle hitter Sydney Bader. She was off balance on the tip attempt. That was sent back by the Vikings. The tip attempt by Peterson. Came right back for Bader, and she hit it under the underside of the net to make it 17-15. Distad on the serve. Herring, Claude, Peterson. Tipped at the net, dug out by Distad. Schmid now, and overhit it. Punched over by Holbein, dug out by Bethany Lutheran, punched over now by Merkins. Now Holbein on the approach, and she'll get the kill. 17-16 now your tally. Smith comes back in. Bader will go back to serve it. Here's the serve now from Bader. Back row, received by Carlson. Now through the middle. Here's the swing taken by Maloney. Dug out by Bader. Now Holbein will punch it over, and she'll get the kill out of it. McKenna Holbein makes it 17 apiece. Must-win set for the Jackets to even push this to a fourth after losing the first two sets, 25-16 and 25-14. And now here's Bader on the serve. Schmid, Distad to the outside. Here's Trigg on the swing. And she'll get the kill. Alexis Trigg makes it now 18-17. Sydney Carlson will come back in. Kalisa Weber also back in for the Vikings. And here's a serve from Weber. Holbein, Claude to the outside. Peterson on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Schwartz and Sager will come back in. Peterson and Claude will check out. Meanwhile, Schwartz back to the line here. Here's her serve. Schmid back row on the reception. Distad through the middle now. And unable to tip it over was Trigg. Mistimed her jump. Left it on the underside of the net to make it 19-18 in favor of the Yellow Jackets. And now here's Schwartz back to the line. Off her serve. Schmid. Distad. Sydney Carlson sends it over. Dug out by Herring. Bump set now from Schwartz. Here's the approach and the swing and the kill from McKenna Holbein. Went off from Trigg to get that kill. Jackets now back up by 2. 20-18 in favor of UWS, trying to stretch this to a fourth set. Schwartz's serve. Schmid, Distad, Sydney Carlson on the approach, dug out by Jones. Schwartz, Hobein, dug out by Sydney Carlson at the net, and then a joust at the net will be put down here by either Hobein or Smith. They both were there, and the Jackets now up 21-18. And Laura Evans is going to take the opportunity to call a timeout here for the Vikings. UWS really having to fight it here tonight. Jackets a bit better here in this set. They were 0-65 in the first set. Second set at 0-24. And here in the fourth so far, 140. Hitting 0-77 for the match. They have 3 blocks in this set. Only had 1 through the first 2 sets combined. Bethany Lutheran, meanwhile, 263 in the first, 275 in the second, and then 116 so far here in the third. Hitting 215 overall. 37 kills. The Jackets with 31 so far. Hobein now at least positive on the hitting side of things. 8 kills, 6 errors, hitting 0-54. Bader's come back down to earth a little bit at 263. So far, Kendra Peterson has made a difference since coming in here in this set. 4 kills and 8 swings for her, hitting 500. As out of the timeout, Schwartz's serve. Schmid, Distad. Sydney Carlson now tips it over. At the net, bumped up now by Herring. Here's Hobein on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Went off of the block attempt of Maloney. 22-18 now your tally. Yeah, Schwartz at the line. Here's her serve. Carlson. And she shanked the pass. First time we've really seen that from the Vikings tonight. They've been very clean. Couldn't get it to Distad. Service ace for Schwartz makes it 23-18. Here's Schwartz's serve now. Schmid. Distad. Trigg will pop it over. Free ball for the Yellow Jackets. Schwartz outside. Hobein on the approach, and she'll get the kill. And now it's set point for UWS. Trying to set this again to the fourth set. 24-18. Here's Schwartz's serve. Schmid, Distad. Through the middle, here's the swing now. Taken by Trigg, tipped at the net. Herring to the outside. Here's the swing from Sager. And she'll kill it and send it to a fourth set. 25-18 as Marina Sager with that kill off the assist from Gabby Schwartz gives UWS the third set, 25-18. And we will head to a fourth set here between the Yellow Jackets and the Vikings in just a few minutes. We'll take a quick break and come back with the start of that fourth set right after this. This is UWS Women's Volleyball on 91.3 FM KUWS and also on Yellow Jacket TV, an affiliate of the UMAC Sports Network. This set break, sponsored by Hobbit Incorporated, as the Yellow Jackets and Bethany Lutheran continue on here. Jackets need to take that third set to keep this match going, and they do just that. 25-18 numbers in that set. Jackets hitting 196, while Bethany hitting 085. Vikings now hitting an even 200 for the match. The Yellow Jackets, meanwhile, hitting 098. McKenna Hobein, by the way, in the double figures now. She has 10 kills, 9 kills for Sydney Bader. 4 kills so far for Kendra Peterson. She made a huge difference coming in, you had the feeling, in that set. Meanwhile, Bethany Lutheran, Lillian Merkins leading everybody. She has 16 kills, 11 so far for Trigg. Quick reminder, by the way, we will have our next Yellow Jacket Women's Volleyball broadcast less than 24 hours from now. In fact, in about 15 to take on Martin Luther here at the Mertz. Owen Peterson will be with you to bring you all the play-by-play on that one here on 91.3 FM and also on Yellow Jacket TV. That game goes up for 1 o'clock, by the way, 12:45 or so, I would guess. Maybe the pregame. I'm not sure what Owen has for his pregame. But anyway, that'll be our next broadcast of Yellow Jacket Volleyball here. So less than 12 hours or so, maybe a few hours more than that. I haven't done the math as of yet. As we begin the fourth set, however, Vikings serving first. Now Claude through the middle. Here's a tipped over the top by Bader, and she'll get the kill. It was Avery Carlson that led things off for Bethany Lutheran. The point goes to the Jackets. They lead at 1-0. Caitlin Jones goes back to the line to serve it now for the Yellow Jackets. Here's her serve. And is it an ace serve? It is. Dropped it right in front of Carlson from Jones. And UWS now up 2-0. Jones on the serve. Back row. Carlson can't find it, and that's another ace. And now the Yellow Jackets with some momentum, leading at 3-0 here, early stages, fourth set. Back-to-back service aces for the transfer from St. Scholastica, Caitlin Jones. And here's her serve. Carlson passes a little bit off the mark. Now Merkins will try to tip it over. Jackets keeping it alive. Claude now pushes it deep. Carlson, Distad, Maddie Meyer on the swing, and she'll miss the near side. It'll be an attack error, and the Jackets have scored the first 4 points here in the fourth set. Here's Caitlin Jones now for UWS. Carlson, Distad, Meyer, free ball for the Jackets. Claude, near side Peterson on the swing, and she'll find the near side corner. Kendra Peterson, with her 5th kill and 9 swings, makes it 5-0. UWS trying to send this to a 5th set. And off to a good start so far here in set number 4. Here's Jones. Received by Raish. Now Distad near side. Here's the swing from Merkins, and that's wildly out of play. Attack error makes it now 6-0 in favor of the Yellow Jackets. Caitlin Jones now for the Yellow Jackets will serve this one up. Raish on the reception. Distad. Meyer. And finally, the Vikings will get a side out as Meyer played that off of the block attempt of Sydney Bader to make it 6-1. Meyer now will go back and serve it. Here's Meyer's serve into the net. Air makes it now 7-1. Smith comes back in. And Bader will go back and serve for the Yellow Jackets here. Here's her serve. Avery Carlson, Distad now near side. Here's Merkins on the swing. Kept alive by the Jackets. Played over now by Claude, and that one will go wide. Kill from Merkins makes it 7-2. Alexis Trigg is going to come back in. Distad's going to go back to the line to serve now for the Vikings. Here's her serve. Hobein. Now here's Smith punching it over. Free ball for the Jackets, and now it'll be killed by Hobein. Initial swing actually on that sequence was taken by Sydney Smith. The Vikings sent it right back, and then Hobein just went up and poked it into the corner to get the kill. 8-2 now, the Jackets by 6. Here's Schwartz's serve. Overpass going up and getting the kill now is going to be Smith. 9 of the first 11 here in the fourth set to UWS. Now Schwartz at the line. Here's her serve. Carlson, Schmid, Trigg. And they're going to call her, I think, into the net. Yeah. Trigg on the approach, couldn't keep her footing on that one. And into the net, point to the Jackets, makes it now 10-2. Now Schwartz's serve. Carlson on the reception. Distad now popping it up. Here's Merkins on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Side out to make it 10-3. Sydney Carlson's going to come back into the match now. Off the serve. Schwartz now through the middle. Jousts up the net. Comes to the Vikings side. Now here's Sydney Carlson on the swing. Dug out by Jones. Schwartz. Sager tipped at the net. And that point will go now to the Vikings. So 2 straight now. Merkins will go back to the line to serve again here. And here's her serve. Holbein. Schwartz. Swing taken by Smith. Dug out a couple of times now by Merkins. Back to back, in fact, digs. Now here's Sydney Carlson playing it over. Herring on the dig. Schwartz to the far side. Now Holbein rolling it over. Distad on the dig. Schmid. Sydney Carlson. Tipped at the net by Smith. Schwartz through the middle. Smith tipped at the net again. Schwartz. This time she'll go for Sager. Sager's swing. That one dug out by Schmid again. Now tipped over by Maloney. Free ball Jackets. Kind of Holbein off balance on the swing. Dug out by Schmid. Back row. Here's the swing now by Merkins, and that's over the top of everything and out for the error. Point to the Jackets makes it 11-4. Holbein on the serve. Sydney Carlson, Distad back for Sydney Carlson. Her swing. And that one will go wide. Attack error makes it 12-4. McKenna Holbein now for UWS. Here's her serve. Carlson, Distad. Out balance now is Trigg, and she'll get stuffed. Solo block by Sydney Smith makes it 13-4. Holbein on the serve. Schmid, overpass. Punched over now by Jones. Merkins will keep it alive. Carlson tried to play it over, tipped at the net. Distad back set now. Here's the swing now from Trigg, and she'll get stuffed again. Another block for Smith, and it's 14-4. I'm kind of surprised that Laura Evans hasn't called timeout here. Here's the serve now from Holbein. Schmid, Distad through the middle. Here's the swing from Maloney. Dug out by Schwartz, bumped up now by Herring. Here's Sager on the swing. Dig by Schmid, sent over for a free ball for the Yellow Jackets. Schwartz, Smith on the swing, and this time she'll send it long and wide for an error. Side out for the Vikings makes it 14-5 in favor of UWS. Meyer comes back in. Now Schmid will go back to the line to serve it. And here's her serve. Herring. Schwartz. The swing by Sager, and she'll get blocked here by Meyer. Two straight points to Bethany Lutheran makes it 14-6. Here's Schmid's serve. Holbein. Schwartz. Holbein from the back row, and she'll get the kill. Went off of Meyer. The assist to Gabby Schwartz. The kill for Holbein makes it now 15-6 in favor of UWS. Bader comes back in. Herring back to the line to serve. Here's Trigg on the reception. Now Distad through the middle. Meyer swing, tipped at the net. Schwartz to the outside. Here's the swing by Jones, and she'll get the kill. Caitlin Jones makes it 16-6 in favor of UWS, and that fifth set is certainly looming, it appears here. As Herring continues from the line. Here's her serve. Schmid. Distad dumps it over, and she'll get the kill. 16-7 now your tally, as Mel Raish is going to come back in. She will take out Trigg. And Raish will serve here for the Vikings. Here's her serve. Herring. Schwartz. Bader through the middle with the big swing, and she'll get the kill. Sydney Bader. Plenty of power on that one to make it 17-7. Peterson and Claude will come back. Sager and Schwartz will check out for the Yellow Jackets, and Claude will go back to the line to serve. Serve back row now. Raish on the reception for the Vikings. Distad here on the slide, was Meyer. She'll go off of the hands of Bader. It was a funny looking play. She was off balance. Got just enough of Bader's hands to get the kill as it fell out of play and off the court. I said, not the typical slide that you would see normally, but worked out. 17-8 your score for the Vikings, I mean. And here's the serve now from Avery Carlson. Jones now will send it over. Now Merkins dumps it over. Diving dig by Herring. Now punched over with the left hand by Caitlin Jones, using the block attempt over there of Meyer to get the kill, and it's 18-8. Jones for the Yellow Jackets at the line. Here's her serve. Distad popping it up. Here's Merkins on the swing, and she misses the near sideline. Attack error makes it now 19-8. And the Jackets running away and hiding here in this fourth set. Seeming very much like we're heading to a fifth set here. Jones' serve. Back row, Avery Carlson. Distad now. Here's Merkins on the approach. Going cross court. And she'll get the kill. 19-9 now as Maddie Meyer goes back to serve it. Coming back into the match now is Abby Maloney. And here's the serve now from Meyer. Claude. Peterson off balance, plays it over. Dug out by Meyer back row. Distad. Merkins on the approach. Dug out by Savannah Herring. Now dumped over by Claude. Ball still alive. Merkins on the approach, and she'll get the kill. Went cross court. Two straight for Merkins. She's had a heck of a match. It's now 19-10 in favor of UWS here in the fourth. And Meyer continues to serve here for Bethany Lutheran. Here's her serve. Herring. And shanked the pass to make it now 19-11. Meyer at the line. Here's her serve. Herring, Claude. Now Bader will tip it over. Free ball for the Vikings. Merkins again on the swing, and she'll get another kill. Making it 19-12 now. 4 straight points for Bethany Lutheran after the Jackets got up by 11 in this set. Meyer at the line. Here's her serve. Herring, Claude. Peterson goes up. Her swing to the far side dugout by Raish, but then Meyer and Distad couldn't sort themselves out in the middle. Couldn't get to the ball in time. Side out for the Yellow Jackets makes it 20-12. And Bader goes back to the line to serve it. Here's her serve. Avery Carlson. Distad. Merkins. Dugout. Bader. Now Holbein. And her swing will go long and out of play. Error makes it 20-13. Trigg is going to come back in for the Vikings. Herring's going to come back in for the Yellow Jackets. And Abby Distad will go back to the line to serve it. Jones on the reception. Claude back set. Here's Peterson now, and she'll swing and leave that one long. Oh, they're going to get a tip? They are going to say it was tipped. Yep. Off of Merkins, apparently, to make it 21-13. Sager and Schwartz are going to come back in. And here's Gabby Schwartz's serve. Trigg on the reception. Distad. Back set now Merkins. And she'll get the kill. High off the hands of Sydney Smith to get the termination. She's got 21 kills now. Does Lily Merkins. It's now 21-14 in favor of UWS as Merkins will go back and serve it herself. Here's her serve. Herring. Schwartz. Smith on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Two teams trading points at the moment, which means we'll be headed to a fifth and decisive set here if this continues the way it is. 22-14 in favor of the Yellow Jackets as Holbein back to the line. Off the serve, pumped up. Sydney Carlson on the swing. That one will drift long. That one's out of play. 23-14 now in favor of UWS. 2 points away from a fifth set. Here is Holbein's serve. Schmid. Distad popping it high in the air, and now played over. Free ball back for the Vikings, however. Now through the middle. Here's the swing from Maloney, and she gets stuffed by Smith, and it's 24-14, and it's set point for the Yellow Jackets to send this to a fifth set. Holbein and the Yellow Jackets 1 point away here. And here's the serve now from Holbein. Trigg, Distad, trying to keep it alive. Tipped to the net by Smith. Now Distad. Carlson on the approach. Distad will push it deep. Free ball for the Jackets. Schwartz. Smith on the swing. Tipped at the net. Schmid on the dig. Now Distad. Maloney plays it over for another free ball. Schwartz. Jones on the swing, and she'll get the kill. And we're headed to a fifth and decisive set here between the Yellow Jackets and Bethany Lutheran. Jackets taking the fourth set, 25-14. We'll take a quick break and come back with the start of that fifth set right after this. This is UWS Women's Volleyball on 91.3 FM KUWS and also on Yellow Jacket TV, an affiliate of the UMAC Sports Network. Johnson back here at the Mertz. First to 15, win by 2. That's the scenario here between the Yellow Jackets and Bethany Lutheran. If you're just joining us, it has been quite a turn of momentum here. The first two sets, Bethany Lutheran 25-16, 25-14, and the Yellow Jackets look pretty much dead in the water there after those two sets. UWS comes back to win the third set, 25-18, and then in the fourth set, the Jackets forcing Bethany Lutheran to negative 0-27 hitting. UWS, meanwhile, in that set, hitting 167. They're now hitting 110 for the match. Bethany Lutheran, meanwhile, hitting 148. Merkins leading everybody with 21 kills for the Vikings. She's taken 60 swings already in this match. McKenna Hobein now up to 12 kills, 11 for Sydney Bader. Jackets with 44 kills, 26 errors to hit 110. Meanwhile, Bethany Lutheran so far 45 kills with 21 errors to hit 148. And we'll see who begins here. The two teams, by the way, the first two eights, once we get to 8 points for one of the two teams will switch sides. And then we'll go right into the rest of the set. We'll see who can pick up this victory here. It's been hard fought, especially these last 2 or 3 sets by the Yellow Jackets. Showed some life beginning that third set. Got up 13-6, and then the Vikings came all the way back. Even took a lead at one point. Then the Jackets came roaring back and ended up pulling away late. And then in that fourth set, they were in command basically from the start. In the meantime, we begin the fifth set with Bethany Lutheran's Abby Distad serving it. Here's her serve. Jackets out the plate over for a free ball. It wasn't a clean reception. Now on the outside, here's the swing by Trigg, and it is off the block attempt there of Bader and Jones. And the Vikings score the first point here of the fifth set. They lead at 1-0. Here's Distad on the serve. Herring. Popped up now by Peterson. Played over now by Claude. Kept alive by the Vikings. Now Merkins will try to push it over, and instead it'll be blocked by Peterson, and she'll get the point for the Yellow Jackets. Side out makes it 1 apiece. Now Caitlin Jones for the Yellow Jackets will go back and serve it. Jones' serve. Schmid. Distad. Outside Merkins. And she'll get the kill. Went right at Savannah Herring and got it down for her 22nd kill to make it now 2-1. Carlson's going to check out. Avery Carlson. Merkins also out. Kalisa Weber's going to come in and serve for Bethany Lutheran. Trigg also back in there. Check it. It's Sydney Carlson that just checked in. Now here's Weber's serve. Herring. Claude. Swing from Peterson, and she'll get the kill. Kendra Peterson makes it 2-2. Savannah Herring will check out. Bader will go back to the line to serve for UWS. Here's the serve now from Bader, and it'll be a service ace, and the Jackets have their first lead. Went right at Schmidt. She couldn't keep it alive, and UWS up now 3-2. Bader's next serve. Schmid. Distad. Going cross court on the swing. That was Maloney. Dug out by the Yellow Jackets. Now here's Hobein on the push. Weber keeps it alive. Carlson. Dug out now by Bader. Short set through the middle. Here's the swing now for Smith, and she'll miss it long. Attack error from Sydney Smith now makes it 3 apiece. Maddie Meyer's going to come back in. Schmid will go back to serve. And here's her serve. Hobein. Claude. Peterson on the swing, and that's an error into the bottom half of the net. Vikings back up now 4-3. Schmid serve. And that one will go long. Service error, and we're tied up again. 4 apiece. Schwartz and Seger going to come back in. Peterson will check out, as will Claude. Gabby Schwartz has had some nice service runs here these last 2 sets for UWS. Here's her serve. Schmid. Distad. And a big swing on the far side from Trigg, and she'll get the kill. Much cleaner both ways here so far in the fifth set, as Trigg will check out with the Vikings leading it 5-4. Back in now Mel Raish, and she'll serve. Here's her serve. Herring. Schwartz. Holbein sending it over for a free ball. Distad. Meyer off balance. Dug out by Herring. Now sent over by Holbein. Dug out by the Vikings. Now near side. Here's Carlson, and she'll get the kill. And the Vikings lead it now 6-4. Serve receive, letting the Yellow Jackets down a little bit here. The passes have not been crisp here thus far in these last couple of service points from the Vikings. Raish now. And that one will go long and out of play. Service there makes it now 6-5 in favor of the Vikings. As McKenna Holbein, the sophomore from Holding Ford, Minnesota, goes back to the line to serve it. And here's her serve. Raish. Meyer. Should be a free ball for the Jackets. Sent over now by Schmid. Herring. Now Sager on the swing, and she'll miss the near side. Attack error makes it 7-5. Avery Carlson and Lily Merkins will come back in. Avery Carlson's serve. Herring. Schwartz. Swing now from Smith, and she'll get the kill. Sydney Smith. Makes it 7-6. And now Herring back to the line for UWS. Herring on the serve. Distad. Merkins off balance, sends it over for a free ball. Schwartz. Outside now, Jones on the swing. And they're going to call the Vikings into the net, so now we're tied up 7 apiece. Savannah Herring now back to the line for the Yellow Jackets. Tied up 7 apiece. Here's her serve. Raish, Distad, back set now. Here's Meyer on the swing, and she'll get the kill. 8-7, the two teams now will switch ends. Jackets now in this set hitting triple zeros. The Vikings, meanwhile, very clean so far, hitting .364. Meyer with her team up. 8-7 will go back to the line now for the Vikings. Meyer serve. Holbein. Schwartz. Jones on the swing, and she'll get the kill. Caitlin Jones. A couple of kills in this set to make it 8 apiece. Side out for UWS. Claude and Peterson are going to come back in. Sager and Schwartz will check out, and it'll be Colleen Claude that'll serve. Here's Claude serve. Avery Carlson, Distad now. Merkins punching it over. Dug out by Holbein. Claude. Jones. Dug out by Raish. Schmid now to the far side. Merkins off balance, gets a swing at it. Tipped at the net. Claude. Now Peterson on the swing. And that'll be a kill now for Kendra Peterson, and the Jackets back up now 9-8. Freshman Kendra Peterson making a huge difference when she came in 2 sets ago. And it's 9-8, Jackets up by 1. Colleen Claude off the serve. Avery Carlson, Distad through the middle now. Punched over now by Maloney. Claude through the middle. Here's the big swing from Bader, and she'll get the kill. Sydney Bader for the Yellow Jackets makes it 10-8. And now Claude back to the line. Colleen Claude for UWS. Here's her serve. Raish to the outside, Merkins, and now she hits it under the underside of the net. Attack error on Lily Merkins makes it now 11-8 in favor of the Yellow Jackets. The Vikings very clean to start this 5th and final set now, starting to kind of come apart a little bit. Claude for UWS at the line. And that's an error into the net to make it now 11-9. Trigg is going to come back in. This dad's going to go back to the line to serve. And here now is Abby Distad's serve. Herring, Claude, Bader on the swing, and she gets the kill. Went off of Maloney. And Sydney Bader, who has been really good all night, she's been the most consistent Yellow Jacket by far, has now 13 kills, and it's 12-9 in favor of the Yellow Jackets. Caitlin Jones now for the Jackets at the line to serve it. And now she'll give it back on a service error. Couple of service errors here for UWS. Makes it 12-10. Sydney Carlson comes back in now for Bethany. As does Kalista Weber. She'll go back and serve it. Here's Weber's serve. Herring on the reception. Claude. Holbein on the swing, and she'll get the kill. McKenna Holbein with the termination to make it 13-10 as Smith will come back in. Bader will go back to the line to serve it. And now a timeout going to be called here by Laura Evans. Jackets 2 points away from victory here. If they can just close this out, it would be quite the turnaround from what we saw in the first two sets. Of course, still a lot of volleyball here left to be played, it feels like. Taking nothing for granted in this one. This would be a heck of a comeback for UWS. Jackets now in this set hitting 294. The Vikings at 200. Jackets now have 2 more kills than the Vikings in this match. 52 kills for the Jackets, 50 so far for the Vikings. Jackets have made a boatload more errors, 29 of them to be exact. The Vikings so far have 23. Vikings hitting 153 for the match. The Jackets at 128. So the numbers begin to even out a bit here. In this fifth set, Bader back to the line here for UWS. Sydney Bader floats it back row. Weber. Now Schmidt will punch it over for a free ball. Claude outside. Holbein on the swing. And it's going to be a kill, and the Jackets have match point. 14-10 UWS. Bader trying to close it out here for the Yellow Jackets. Here's her serve. Weber, Distad, Maloney on the swing. Claude, Holbein tipping it over. Holbein and Carlson going back and forth. Now Distad. Swing cross court now. Taken by Trigg. Now Holbein on the swing, and she'll get the kill, and the Yellow Jackets come back from 2-0 to down Bethany Lutheran, taking the fifth and final set 15-10. And how about that? Snapping the Vikings' 8-game winning streak. The Jackets now 2-1 in the conference. The Vikings falling to 3-1 with the loss. We'll take a quick break and come back with our post-game show. Catch our breath a little bit and come back with our post-game, sponsored by Synovus Energy. That's coming up right after this. This is UWS Women's Volleyball on 91.3 FM, KUWS Superior, and Yellow Jacket TV, an affiliate of the UMAC Sports Network. Matt Johnson back here at Mortarelli Gymnasium, and what a match we had here tonight between the Yellow Jackets and Bethany Lutheran. I had to kind of catch my breath a little bit on this one before I jump into this postgame by Synovus Energy, but wow, how about that for a comeback? Yellow Jackets really started out this match slowly as we jump into our post-match recap here. The Yellow Jackets in the first set just didn't seem like they could get anything going. Actually, the first two sets were that way. UWS in the first set hitting just 0-65. Bethany Lutheran came out firing. They hit 263 in the first set. And they ended up taking that first set, 25-16. It didn't get any better in the second set. In fact, it got worse for the Yellow Jackets. UWS going from 0-65 to 0-24 in the second set, while Bethany Lutheran continued to up their game. They went from 263 to 275 in the second set and really pulled away, and were up 2-0 by virtue of a 25-14 victory. And at that point, it was looking pretty grim. I mean, the Jackets, not only were they down 2-0, they really hadn't shown much life in either of the first two sets. And the thought was, well, see if they can at least push this to 4. Well, the Jackets responded a bit in that fourth set. They limited the Vikings to 0-85 hitting in the third set. UWS up in the percentage, not a whole lot, but just enough at 196 to get a 25-18 win in the third set. In the fourth set, the Jackets, that's, I think, where they really picked up their momentum. They hit just 167 in that set, but Bethany Lutheran hit negative in that fourth set. They were negative 0-27 for the set. And the Jackets won it 25-14 to set up the fifth set. Early in the set, the Vikings looked really good offensively, hitting over 300 for about the first 5 or 6 points between the two teams. But then as the fifth set moved on, the Yellow Jackets really picked it up. UWS in that fifth set, by the way, 10 kills, just 3 errors, hitting 350 as a team in the fifth set, while Bethany Lutheran hit 167. Jackets pulling away, and they end up winning it by the final tally here of 15-10, 3-2, your overall margin here for the Yellow Jackets in that fifth and final set. For the match, the Yellow Jackets as a team end up hitting 137, 54 kills as a team, led by McKenna Holbein. Again, no surprise. She had a really rough first 2.5 sets. Really came alive late. Ended up hitting 157, but led the Yellow Jackets with 15 kills. Meanwhile, Sydney Bader, 13 kills for the Jackets, 8 kills for Kendra Peterson, by the way. She deserves special mention. She had just 1 error in the match. The freshman, she had 8 kills on 15 swings and 1 error to hit 467. Those over the last 3 sets for the freshman. Caitlin Jones, meanwhile, hit with 6 kills and 5 kills for Sydney Smith in the match. She also picked it up big time down the stretch. Bethany Lutheran was led by the match leader, Lily Merkins. She had 22 kills in the match, hit 2 of 12, took 66 swings. That's a ton. 13 kills in the match for Alexis Trigg as well, the native of Virginia, Minnesota. And 8 kills for Maddie Meyer. She was really strong in the first couple of sets, but cooled down significantly as the match wore on. Yellow Jackets from the setter position, 28 assists for Colleen Clodd in the match, 16 for Gabby Schwartz. Savannah Herring led the way with 29 digs, 13 digs as well for Holbein, so yet another double-double for the sophomore from Holdingford, Minnesota. Meanwhile, Bethany Lutheran and their 5-1. Abby Distad had 42 assists for them. 15 digs for Mel Raish, 19 for Kylie Schmid, and then 11 digs as well for Lily Merkin, so she also gets a double-double in the match. Your post-game show player of the match, in my opinion, you have to give it to Sydney Bader, although Kendra Peterson certainly did make a difference when she came in. Her physicality made a huge difference on that right side. That was a big factor in the Yellow Jackets coming back and winning this match. But I'm going to give it to Bader because she was consistently the Yellow Jackets' best player. She was really good in the first couple of sets. She was really good the rest of the night as well. 13 kills for Bader, hitting 375. She also, in the match, had 3 assists, which is very, very rare for a middle hitter. She also had 5 digs in the match. Also had 3 block assists and 1 solo block. Led the Yellow Jackets in points with 16.5. She and Holbein both had 16.5 points in the match. So Sydney Bader, your post-game show player of the game. With the victory, the Yellow Jackets now 13-7 overall. They're now 2-1 in the UMAC, while Bethany Lutheran falls to 11-6. They have their 8-match winning streak snapped. They fall to 3-1 in the conference with the loss. Yellow Jackets now, incredible streak against Bethany Lutheran. 16 straight wins now for the Yellow Jackets against the Vikings. A streak that dates all the way back to, as I mentioned, 2017. And still, the Vikings have never defeated the Yellow Jackets here in Superior. UWS all-time 11-0 against Bethany Lutheran here in Superior. Up next for the Yellow Jackets, they'll be right back here in about, I don't know, 10, 12 hours, I would guess, somewhere give or take. Bradley Lellis is doing the math in his head. My production engineer from Yellow Jacket TV, he looks like he's working it out as we speak. I'm not going to try to do it here, but it won't be very long. The Yellow Jackets will be right back here tomorrow taking on Martin Luther. 14 hours? Okay, he's doing 14 hours. Is that what we're going to settle on? Okay. 14 hours it'll be. So about 14 hours, the Yellow Jackets will be right back here to take on Martin Luther here to try to close out the weekend with 2 victories. Take on the Knights for the first time here in 2025. That'll be our next broadcast. That'll also be a joint broadcast on 91.3 FM KUWS and also on Yellow Jacket TV. Owen Peterson will be along to bring you all the play-by-play there. So I hope you'll tune in and listen to Owen making his, I think it's his KUWS and Yellow Jacket TV broadcast debut. Don't quote me on that, but I'm guessing it is. So he'll be here tomorrow. Again, that'll be a 1 p.m. opening serve and probably, I'm guessing, pregame right around, 12:45, maybe 12:50, somewhere in there. Big thank you to everybody who listened. Also a big thank you to my producers, Gus Shupp back at 91.3 FM, and also Brad Lillis, who was my producer at Yellow Jacket TV. We all hope you enjoyed the broadcast, and we hope you'll join us again as Owen Peterson brings you more Yellow Jacket women's volleyball here tomorrow against the Knights here in Superior. So for Gus Shupp back at 91.3 FM, and also for Brad Lillis at Yellow Jacket TV, this is Matt Johnson one more time repeating the final score. Yellow Jackets winning at 3-2 over Bethany Lutheran. Set scores here tonight. Bethany Lutheran taking the first 2 sets 25-16, 25-14. Jackets taking the last 3, 25-18, 25-14, and 15-10. Again, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll hope you'll join us again tomorrow for more Yellow Jacket women's volleyball. This has been UWS Volleyball on 91.3 FM KUWS and also on Yellow Jacket TV, an affiliate of the UMAC Sports Network.